On this episode of Science with Shields, we are explaining why leaves change color.
We are beautiful science, compliance, baby, you and me, a cosmic alliance, defiance.
Hey everyone, it's meteorologist Christy Shields. And on this episode of Science with Shields, we're explaining how leaves change color in the fall. So what happens is leaves are filled with chlorophyll. It's a part of their food process. But then in the fall, as we head into winter, they stop producing that, and the chlorophyll breaks down, and we get those yellows, reds, hues on the trees, which was really cool. But you can actually find out what color your tree is going to turn before the leaves actually turn the color they're going to be. And that is what we're going to do in this experiment. We're going to use chromatography, and we're going to actually break down that chlorophyll a little bit earlier, not by a natural process, but by using rubbing alcohol. So what you need for this experiment, you will need to collect leaves. It's best if you do know the names of the leaves you're collecting, which thankfully Chief Meteorologist Joe Murgo helped out on this experiment, and he gave me a whole bunch of different types of leaves to try. So we had poplar, peach, as well as mulberry, maple, and also grape. So we got a whole bunch of different kind of leaves here to try out. And I grabbed some leaves from the backyard as well for this experiment. Not only will you need leaves and rubbing alcohol, you're going to need some scissors and also coffee filters. So what we want to do is, the first thing we want to do is we are going to cut our leaves up into very small little pieces and put it into our glass container. So I am going to start to cut this leaf up, and you want it to be very small. The more small, the better it's going to go, and you will want to kind of mash it up, almost make it into a mixture with that rubbing alcohol here for this experiment. So we're going to continue to cut up this leaf. And like I said, again, in the fall, the leaves change color because that chlorophyll breaks down, and then once that chlorophyll, which is this green color, breaks down, you see what the leaves color would be, which is usually like an orange or yellow or red hue. Okay, so we cut up a few of these leaves here, and we put them in the beaker. You can see that we're now pretty much filled at this point with enough leaves. So the next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna stick some rubbing alcohol into our leaves. Now you don't wanna put too much rubbing alcohol in. You're gonna wanna put just enough to cover the tops of the leaves. So we're gonna pour some of that in. Again, just enough to cover the tops of the leaves. All right, so we got that in there. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to take a coffee filter, and we're going to kind of make it into a little bit of a cone shape. So we've got our coffee filter, and then we're going to stick this in on the leaves and onto the rubbing alcohol. And we're going to sit this, and we're going to let it sit for about, I'd say, 12 hours or a day. So you're going to want to let that sit. And you can see here some of our examples that are already done, that we've already pre-done here. If you take a look at the examples that we've already done, you can see how we had them set up in the glasses. So what are our results? Well, it's really cool, and again, it's using what's called chromatography, which is where you're separating a certain substance into different parts. So I'm going to show you this poplar because I think it turned out to be one of the best. And if we take a look at the sides here, you can see the different colors that were pulled out. So we have, again, at the top, at the bottom, the darker green, but then as you go up, you see that it turns into this nice light yellow. So this poplar tree in the fall, you can see that nice light yellow at the top. It's going to turn into yellow because we pulled, again, with that rubbing alcohol, the chlorophyll out. You can see that darker green, but then it turns yellow as you go up. So that one turned out really well. We can also see that here with the grape tree. Show you here. Again, it's darker, but then as you get to the top, you can see that light band of yellow, which shows that it would be yellow once the leaves change on the trees. And this one's pretty good too, our maple. It gives you more of an orange hint at the top. And again, that was because of the leaves changing. Again, it's dark, and you can see that difference as the chlorophyll leaves on the filter, and you get left with that color that it's going to turn in the fall. So try this experiment out. It's really cool. And like I said, the smaller that you cut up your leaves and the more you mix it with the alcohol, it's going to give you better results for your chromatography, and you'll be able to see how those leaves change colors.